So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. iPhone 12 Pro Max versus Galaxy Note 20 Ultra full comparison. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but I wanted to use these phones for quite some time first before I go ahead and do the comparison. Also, the iPhone 12 Pro Max had a later launch date, not even a month ago. It launched in mid-November, so it was pretty late launch this year due to the pandemic and things like that. So definitely a little bit later, but we do this every year. We compare the Note to the 12 Pro Max, but the Note seems like it might be on its way out next year. We'll see what happens there. You can see that the iPhone 12 Pro Max launches at $1,099 before trade-in. You can see it comes in 4 different colors: Pacific Blue, Silver, Graphite, and it does come in gold as well. A lot of people seem to be really liking that gold and Pacific Blue. We'll go ahead and look at the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra right here. This one launches at $12.99. You can see it right there crossed out, but you can't get this thing often on discounts like it is right now. For the holidays, you can do a trade-in on this thing, but the price is $12.99 MSRP, so manufacturer suggested retail price on this boy. So definitely up there. It's higher than the starting price of the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but it can be justified in a lot of ways. You can see right here Mystic Bronze, Mystic Black, and Mystic White. So definitely Samsung selling these too. They don't ship till December 14th, so next week. So definitely both of these are some pretty rock solid phones, but they are definitely up there in the price point. For those of you looking for a phone, you're going all out with these ones. The only phone that costs really more than these is like the Galaxy Z Fold 2, for example. Okay guys, so let's do a quick refresh on the key specifications, or if you don't know them, we'll talk about them here. So the iPhone 12 Pro Max features a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. This thing comes in at 1284 by 2778 pixels. It's OLED, so it's got nice contrast to it. 800 nits of brightness. This does have a triple 12 megapixel rear camera with 2160p video recording and a LiDAR sensor as well for some AR and things like that. 6 gigabytes of RAM, the first 5nm chipset. I feel like in a mainstream smartphone here with the A14 Bionic chipset. We also do have 3687 milliamp hour battery. It launches with iOS 14. So those are the key specifications that matter here for the 12 Pro Max. They're pretty beastly specifications. Now, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G also does feature some really great specifications. A bigger screen at 6.9 inches. This is OLED as well. It's their dynamic OLED display. It can get very vivid or very natural. It really depends on what you like to do with this display. It's also 120 hertz, unlike the iPhone 12 Pro Max. It can only do it at 1080, but still very nice. On the back, we do have a 108 megapixel camera along with a couple other lenses over there, which are 12 megapixels as well as another 12 megapixels. So only one of them is 108. That's the main sensor. And then the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra does feature 12 gigabytes of RAM here on the US version with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus CPU. So they did announce the 888, I believe it is. So this one is definitely last year's processor at this point, but 7nm chipset, 4500 milliamp hour battery on board, so a much larger battery. But you're going to see how that doesn't really make a major difference in our battery section. But those are the key specifications between both of these. Okay guys, so let's compare the body and the build. Now, both of these phones are weighty phones. The iPhone 12 Pro Max weighs in at 228 grams. The Galaxy Note 20 Ultra weighs in at 208. Both of them are very large as well to hold, very wide and tall devices. So if you like a big bulky device, you like a big massive display, you'll like it. But they're both pretty easy to hold if you're used to large smartphones. So if you've had bigger phones before, you'll definitely like these. But putting them side by side, you can see the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra definitely a little bit bigger than that of the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Definitely a little bit taller there. Also, a bigger camera bump as well. But my thoughts here after using these for some time on the body and the build, you have a return to the classic form of squared edges for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And it's pretty neat because it infuses the new with the old, as in you never had a squared edge big iPhone before. So this is pretty neat and it's pretty easy to hold. There's a pretty good grip on this phone, flat display. Gives this thing a really nice, overall everyday experience. You don't really have any accidental presses because there's no edges on this phone. And overall, I would say the body is super premium. The back also does have like that matte etch textured on it. So definitely very nice here. You don't get a lot of fingerprints here, but you will get fingerprints here on the stainless steel. I do like the cameras as well. They're not super thick. They don't stick out that much for the 12 Pro Max. Overall, just a clean, conservative look. Not too risky, not too bold, but infusing a little bit more premium than before with the 12 Pro Max. Now, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra still has that traditional rectangular square design here that they've been doing on the Note for several years, but it's bigger, it's taller, it's bolder. You definitely can see it. Look at that camera bump right there. Very big. Kind of like the Galaxy S20 Ultra. So this is just basically the Note version of the S20 Ultra, and it's very nice overall. This gold color, or this bronze color, really kind of stands out here for this device, as it's the main color they introduced this here. Some people don't like it, but I kind of dig it. I think it's understated. It looks premium. Over here on the back, definitely a very similar material to the 12 Pro Max. I would say the stainless steel frame here for the Note 20 Ultra, it doesn't stand out quite as much as on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. It's thinner. You can see around the edges here, but I gotta state that both of these phones, either way you go, they feel like you're just using the same type of premium. It just Android or iPhone. It's pretty similar here, but the way they feel in the hand is different. The Galaxy Note 20 Ultra feels like a big rectangle in your hand, big massive display to write on like a notepad, and then over here the iPhone 12 Pro Max just feels like a blown up small iPhone 12 just on a massive scale. So that's how I best describe them. If I was to pick one in terms of the body, I think I would go with the 12 Pro Max. I prefer the, the flat edges. They don't have accidental presses. Like for the Note 20 Ultra, you will get some accidental presses, or it won't respond if your hand is going over that edge. A case fixes that really quickly. I just find the Note 20 Ultra overall, the ergonomics of the phone, it just feels bulkier, even though the 12 Pro Max is heavier. Okay, so which one actually looks better, in my opinion, based on my usage between both of them? Now, I think the Note 20 Ultra is the better looking phone, mostly because it looks a little bit more modern due to not having a notch up there at the top. In addition, while that camera bump is big, I think the way it looks better than the 3 separated cameras here for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. But that's not to take away from the 12 Pro Max. I think the 12 Pro Max definitely looks better on the edges from the side profile, not from the front, but from the bottom. They're pretty similar, but those side profiles on the 12 Pro Max is a definite win over the Note 20 Ultra. But I definitely like the way the back of the Note 20 Ultra looks better, just because the camera design to me looks better, even though it's a little thicker. And the front definitely, I feel like, looks better here for the Note 20 Ultra. So if I was to pick one in design, I think that would be the Note 20 Ultra 5G this year. Okay, so the displays. The iPhone 12 Pro Max, the display has this really crazy high usable brightness of 800 nits. It's oftentimes too bright at nighttime, but in the daytime, it's excellent. So really bright. I want to state that right away. Also, I like the True Tone mode. I wish there was a True Tone mode here for the Note. You can still use the blue light filter, but it's kind of similar to Apple's Night Shift. But it's not really a reason to pick this one over the Note 20 Ultra, but I just like that. Over here, I do like the dark mode. Now, I don't like that this one didn't bring ProMotion. I thought Apple has the technology. I feel like they could have did that this year. So it doesn't feel nearly as smooth as a display over here, but I do like that this display is flat. It's very sharp, and it's just very bright. It's very similar to last year's 12 or the 11 Pro Max, and video quality is excellent as well.
Guys, Nick here, helping you to master your technology. iPhone.
You can definitely enjoy a video. Yeah, the notch does kind of get in the way sometimes if you're looking at it, but you probably forget about it. On a screen this big, you won't even pay attention to it that much. So it's not the biggest deal here, but still, if you're waiting for a removal of the notch on your next iPhone, this is not going to be the one. Overall, the display quality itself is very good, very natural, very accurate. Now over here for the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, this display gets very bright, but I notice it gets its brightest when you do crank it into the red, but then it starts to drain a lot of batteries. I often don't have it up this high over here, but when it comes to an Android phone, the Galaxy Note series is like the brightest Android phone you're gonna get. Most Android phones do not get this bright. So if we go to display and you go over here, you can change it between 120 hertz and 60 hertz. And this is where the Note 20 Ultra starts to take the lead. In addition, they have very different modes here. So the natural is extremely similar to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, looking like the colors are a little bit more muted, not over punchy. But if you appreciated Samsung's older, very vibrant, saturated look, the vivid mode stands out here for the Note 20 Ultra, it is extremely punchy by comparison to the 12 Pro Max. And if you put this thing on vivid mode, and some people might look at this and say, that looks so much better, so much more colorful than the 12 Pro Max. So for me, the Note 20 Ultra, because of its variability of features in the display, I would give it the win here in terms of display. For me, it has no notch. It has, similar specification. And while this one does get brighter, you can make this as accurate with the natural mode just about. So for me, the display win in quality is the Note 20 Ultra. So when it comes to their operating systems, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra does feature the One UI 2.5. We'll be getting 3 soon. It's been getting pretty good monthly updates. So security patches have been rolling out very well to this phone. But one of the reasons why I kind of prefer recommending the Note, if you care about features, is just the ability to split screens, to have pop view windows. There's a lot you can do with this phone to take advantage of that power. You do have the Edge display here as well. You can split screens. You can have app pairs, so you can just go to 2 different things at one time. If we go over here, you can see all these other apps that you can do in split screen. So in terms of the feature set here for the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, it definitely has a lot more going on for it than the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So if we go to advanced features, you'll see many more there. Now, that's not to say that the 12 Pro Max isn't loaded with the features, because it definitely is. It's just the way it does it is a little bit cleaner, I would say. It's a little bit less to learn. It's pretty easy to use. If you go over here, Apple has put all of your apps in the app library the way they want to design it. Over here, you can have a home screen only, or you can have an app drawer. You can download tons of launchers. You do have the ability to go through a list view here if you click on that. In addition, they've brought widgets to the display. I kind of keep them over to the left like before. I don't really like widgets cluttering up my home screen on iOS, but over here on Android, I do put some widgets on board. It seems like that's the way it's been for a while, but I would say that the overall software, very different. You get software updates a lot more consistently. I have found the Samsung to be less buggy though. I find the 12 Pro Max has crashed a couple times on me. Not like it wouldn't come right back, it came right back to life, but the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra never crashes. It's very smooth, it's a very reliable software here, but doesn't get updated quite as often as the 12 Pro Max. So pick the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra if you want the features. I'm not going to talk much about the S Pen because there's no real competition here for the S Pen. There's no S Pen 4 or Apple Pencil support for that phone. So you have Screen Write, Live Message, AR Doodle, Translate. You have all the works you've had in the previous Galaxy Notes, and this one just feels a little bit better to write. It feels more like paper. But again, like I said, we're not going to talk too much about it. It's a total win if you want a pen here. The Galaxy Note 20 Ultra has the silo you can put right inside the body, so there's no competition there. Feature set, you want more to play around with, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra is the phone to pick. It's also a more productive phone if you got to use multitasking. If you're in the Apple ecosystem and you just want the largest phone you can get and you want all the same great features from the smaller iPhone, the iPhone 12 Pro Max is the phone for you. There we go. There's a lag right there on camera. So this is what I'm talking about. You see it happening. I'm trying to swipe through. You seen it happening right there. I tried to swipe through. I was getting some stutter there for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So this stuff happened more often for me than on the Note 20 Ultra. So that brings me on to performance. We can make this short. We've already done a speed test. Raw performance, the iPhone's gonna win every time. It has the 5nm versus a 7nm. The Note's a little bit behind in the chip in terms of the actual raw specification, but the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra in the real world has a slicker, smoother feeling display. So most casual users will say that the Note 20 Ultra feels faster. But technically speaking, when you start getting into editing, you start getting into stuff that really pushes that processor, the Note 20 Ultra will lose to the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So in performance, the 12 Pro Max is the faster phone. It's the winner there. But in everyday usage, the 120 Hertz is more felt by the consumer, I feel like, than the A14 is versus like the Snapdragon 865 7nm processor. So do keep that in mind when picking these up. Either way you go, you're going to have some boss performance on both these phones. You're probably not going to care either way. The software experience will matter more than the performance. Biometrics is something you should keep in mind as well. So the iPhone 12 Pro Max does have a very efficient and reliable Face ID. When out and about, current times right now, we are wearing masks sometimes. the mask doesn't really work. So you got to swipe up, do your passcode. It's super slow to do that way. Whereas the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra does offer you a Face ID like feature, but it's not as fast. So when you look at it over here, let's look at it really quickly. It will unlock the phone through this camera, and you could swipe away. You can also set up a passcode, a pattern like traditional Android devices, or you have the in-display biometric security, which is their more secure method. And it's right there. And for some reason, the Note always seems to have a better in-display fingerprint sensor than other Samsung phones. So for me, the Note has been more useful during these times to have that fingerprint in display. You also don't have to reach to the back like on some other devices, but this one, very reliable, very smooth. It really just comes down to which do you prefer. I think they both feel very modern and very useful. So really, it's no real preference here. I found them both to be really good. The Note just was a better experience if you're wearing a mask and you're in the store or something like that. Okay, so for the first time, I think Apple is giving you the better value in storage. They're launching the phone with 128 gigs. This is the 256, but 128 gigs, they launched at the $1099 price point. Now, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, I don't know why Samsung would do this, but to me, this was like ridiculous. 128 gigs for $1299. That to me is terrible, considering that the Note 10 Plus, I think it was last year, had the 256 gigs standard. So not really feeling this 128. Yes, you can expand it, but sometimes a lot of the storage you want to use is the stuff that goes internal, not external. So Samsung, if you're watching this video, please, if you're gonna make a phone at $1299, make the 256 gigs standard. The iPhone wins out here for me on storage. It's definitely a better value when picking your memory. So let's talk about their cameras. Now, the 12 Pro Max is an evolution to me of the 11 Pro Max. It has the wide angle, the regular, and the 2.5x, so it can now zoom further out than the 11 Pro Max and go 12x on the zoom. In addition, video quality is amazing. 4K 60, you can do in 4K 60 HDR. You can't do HDR video like this. You can do 4K 60 HDR video on this phone. You can do front-facing video as well at 4K 60. Amazing quality matching up. So if you're doing video, your front video and back video match up very well on this device. Portrait modes are solid. You have panoramic mode, slow-mo, and time-lapse. So also in photo mode, you do have some pro features where you can change your aspect ratio. You can lock that exposure down. You have your timers right there. Apple's making most of the features you need available now right from the camera app. I love this. The older iPhones, you had to keep going into camera settings to do basically anything. I think you're just going to be blown away if you haven't had a phone like the 11 Pro with the camera quality. It's at a professional level. It really is. It's very good quality on the whole. I did take some samples. I will show you some of these comparisons side by side in a minute, but the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra definitely improved upon the S20 Ultra with laser autofocus. So the autofocus was an issue on the 108 megapixel sensor. They kind of fixed that here with the Note 20 Ultra. I still find it sometimes you got to know the distances to focus this thing, but the zoom on this phone is crazy. You can go 50x zoom on this device. So if you want, again, more features in your camera, the Note 20 Ultra is the winner again. You do have 16:9. You can go 4:3 in that 108 megapixel mode, but you're going to use a lot of storage if you take a 108 megapixel photo. So keep that in mind. Now, if we go over here to settings, you'll see that in settings, let me go back to settings here. You'll see that they do have a rear video size of up to 8K. So an insane resolution right there. If you go to advanced recording options, you can do HDR10 video on here as well. So the Samsung phone actually, I think, had that first. So definitely lots going on here for the Note 20 Ultra. And in video right here, if we go to more, you'll notice too, you have a pro mode. So you have a pro mode right from the camera. For me, the feature set, it's a win for the Note 20 Ultra, definitely. And I think you can get pretty close to similar results, but I do still think the iPhone produces better video quality. I'm gonna go ahead now and show you some samples I took with these, comparing them, and you could decide for yourself which is gonna be the better option for you. For me, I would choose the 12 Pro Max just because it has more of a consistent experience across the board. But if you like fiddling around with your camera, you like playing with a lot of features, you want the most you can get out of a pro mode, stuff like that. If you want to use a pro mode, you like all this stuff right there in the camera settings, you probably will still like the Samsung. And if you like more vivid photos, you'll still like the Samsung more. So here's an area where both these phones are strong, and that is battery life. Both these phones get through a day with ease. And for many people who don't use their phones all day long, they will get through 2 days or close to 2 days, maybe a day and a half. These phones are both exceptional on battery life. I find the iPhone 12 Pro Max still has better standby time, but I find that in usage, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G is excellent as well. One thing you'll notice, if you turn 5G on both of these, their battery will drain far quicker than if you just have 4G on or you're using Wi-Fi. But I found that the screen on time was slightly longer for the iPhone 12 Pro Max, even though it has a smaller battery. But both of these, either way you go, you're going to get essentially really good battery life on both of them. So don't really fret here. Either way you go, this is the best iPhone battery life this year. And this is one of the better Samsung battery lives. But Samsung does great battery life on a lot of their phones. The A71 did well. The A51 did well. So it's not like this is their only good battery life phone here. But still, both of these are excellent for what kind of power they do provide. So I want to talk about reception. Now, the 5G performance has been very good on both of them. I find the 5G was actually a little bit better for the Galaxy Note. There was a couple times where it cut out on the 12 Pro Max and went back to 4G, whereas it stayed consistent more often for the Note series. So the 5G, I think, performed a little bit better on the Note, but they both did very well, very much better than the LTE performance. And in terms of the actual bars, they both held the bars pretty similar. So in terms of, you know, not dropping calls, stuff like that, you're not going to find that here on these phones. They both have excellent reception. For the money, they better. So I'm very happy with this overall. So don't worry about, you know, running out of service and stuff. I mean, if you're in fringe areas, you're in areas where there's just no towers, stuff like that, any phone's going to drop out. But in terms of, for the most part, you're not going to have any really reception losses, problems like that. There's just not a huge problem with that. Although I will say there is, for some people, 5G's cutting in and out on the iPhone 12. But let me know what you've been experiencing on if you have either of these phones when it comes to mobile reception day to day. And lastly, phone call quality. Now, both of them really did well with the speaker phone quality, very loud speakers for when taking speakerphone calls. In addition, they both have very good earpieces. So when you put these things up to your ear, they have very full and loud without blowing your ears out too loud. Earpieces up there at the top. Now, you really can't see the notes. It's kind of within that bezel. It's pretty amazing design. Over here, you can see it right there clearly. I have had one time where people have said they couldn't hear me on the 12 Pro Max. Didn't happen on the Note, but not saying it was probably me not holding it to my face correctly. These phones both did exceptional in phone call quality, and there have been years where the iPhone wasn't doing so great in this section, so I'm very happy with this. Both of these phones are very good as being phones right now. And in conclusion, I didn't talk about gaming, but gaming is really going to just come down to which screen size do you want. Do you like iOS games? Do you like the Android games? It doesn't matter to you. They both do gaming very well. I think the iPhone gets titles quicker. It's a little bit faster to load stuff, but you'll have a good experience on either, neither get too warm. In conclusion, which is the better device to pick here? I think these are neck and neck devices. They really are. It's really just down to, again, like it just seems like it's always down to this, but things aren't changing much. Apple and Samsung keep producing similar phones every year. They're just getting a little bit better, a little bit better. And whether you like iOS or Android here, you're getting an amazing device. So it's really going to come down to what you want. I think it's easy to say for some people who are into video and photography, well, all day the iPhone, but it's easy for people to say, I like multitasking. I like having the full screen, no notches to pick the Samsung. If you're an artist, you like to use the S Pen, there's no other choice. So these phones are neck and neck. It's down to those little peculiar features that are going to matter more to you which one to pick, because both of these are boss status phones. They're super high quality. They feel the price you paid, and they also do have amazing cameras on both of them capable of pro results. Now, if you want to know my personal opinion, if I could only choose one right now, I'm going to pick the 12 Pro Max for me, just because I really like the insane video quality for what I do as a YouTuber to create videos and stuff like that. But in terms of an actual phone for business, I prefer the Note. So thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Let me know which one you would pick between these two, and stay tuned for more content like this. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.